start recording. Yeah, so yesterday I moved up in management, actually. I looked at the whole plate. I gave myself a promotion because I'm quitting all the work on the ground. I'm going into civilization architecture mode, pretty much. Because for May 1st, that's going to be, we're talking about serious start right now. I feel pretty confident that we can offer now 6 months, 10K for the cost. You start an enterprise, makes 100K a year at month 6. That's what we can do, and I'm going to focus on trying to deliver that, and that is that the 6 months now becomes super focused training, fire under your ass. Why? Because you're going to start a business in 6 months, so there's going to be super motivation for people. Basically, the value proposition is 6 months and you got financial independence. I mean, that's kind of how we're going to roll it out. So I want to get a bunch of people on that. I think we can minimum. I once again the same old minimum 24 people. So the budget's looking like 24. So that would be 240K revenue. But I'm hoping that I'm designing basically that we can on May 1st absorb about 100 people. 100 people, probably build a crash course 50. I'm envisioning 75 nominal, 25 people leave after the crash course. We got a crew of 50 on site and we are starting to roll. So that's basically what I'm preparing for, and that means I have to move up in management. So that's all. That's major transition. Actually, that came from it might be useful to you. I'm not sure how good you are at this yet, but I read a book called Buy Back Your Time. Have you heard of that?
No, first time.
Okay, look into that. It's either you're ready for this, you have done it already, or it's super important for you right now. So yeah, take a look at that. That's good.
I'll
So,
do.
so that's where it's going. What else to say about the development? So, I mean, basically focus on what absolutely gives me absolute power, and that is civilization architecture work. So basically upping the game to say, hey, we are doing an experiment, civilization grade. And what does it mean to be civilization grade effort? Which is what we talk about, me and you, right? And beyond civilization grade, that means we got to basically make a call out to the people to just raise the bar. This is actually super serious. Everything about the program reflects that. We're structuring for exactly that experiment. So it's really Civilization 100 starts May 1. What Civilization 100? We're looking at, here's what we can do for modern civilization with 100 people. And that starts with education there, education and production. So that's kind of the picture. So it's coming along. It's I feel way better about trying to step onto this new level. I just wanted to share that with you. That yesterday, it's kind of was getting my mind clear about that. Yesterday is when I picked up that book and I went in for a shock treatment after reading it. Yeah. So any thoughts?
Probably it's not the easiest step to take, but it's what takes the most sense in order to make this happen. That's
Mm-hmm.
civilization for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And the basics of buy back your time is the idea, what is your time worth? Okay. And that worth is basically calculate revenue and divided by, say, 2,000 hours nominally. 2,000 hours, say, work year, right? So what do you make in a year? What do you make? And then the idea is divide that by 4. So if you divide that by 4, you should absolutely not be doing anything that results in a pay scale of your pay divided by 4. So for example, if you're making $100 an hour, you should not be doing anything that you can outsource at market in the market at $25 an hour, right? So what is that? I calculated for myself. I'm seeing $250 an hour. That's the value of my time right now based on where OSE is at in revenue generation. Therefore, I cannot do anything that would cost $60 an hour to outsource. And that's if I take that seriously, that means I have to change everything that I'm doing pretty much. Because now the good part is, just to complete this topic, um, there's a reason why I was heavily involved in all the operations up to this point, because a civilization architect must have first-hand experience on all the systems, right? But now, as we're saying, okay, this is civilization 100, it is structurally impossible for me to continue that. So site operations, workshop, agriculture, education, program, house building, no, that's that's beyond. If we're gonna actually do all that well, that's beyond a single person. Um,
I
where
agree.
have
Yeah,
you?
sorry.
So I'm gonna ask you, put you on a spot here. So, what is? Have you ever considered seriously what your value per hour is? What is it? What is it for you?
I haven't made a calculation on this phase of my life where I decided to start my own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Since I haven't got into the part of revenue generation, I don't have a specific way to do the
Ah,
calculation.
because you're riding off the fact that so your parents have a successful operation, but you're not really, like, you're not counting yourself. Okay, well, that's actually my revenue. Is that kind of the thinking, or?
Correct, because currently I'm not 100% involved in that. I'm more much as an owner than an operational part of it.
I see. I see. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that do that calculation and kind of see that, and it may well be that, okay, you're not at that phase, because I wasn't at that phase until now. And actually, I would say actually the viral video and the massive turnout in a builder crash course actually got me to consider this seriously yesterday, right? So it's actually, all in all, things are moving ahead, but I was just getting overwhelmed right now. I was, yeah. So basically stepping up to a different game. And also there's a big point about energy management, because now if I do that part, I mean, that gives me absolute energy all the time. I mean, I could do that all the time, and that's a big thing, because it's not really about time management, it's about your energy management, because you can then have infinite motivation if you're loving it, and it's never a pain. Because I mean, what we do here, I mean, it's pain, construction, build work, it's suffering, right? It's not easy work. So now that if I can move beyond that, I can actually thrive more. Now, I'm not saying that you got to avoid that. You got to go through it. You got to go through the pain first, so that you have the authority to to dissolve that pain for others in the future, as we are doing here. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
all.
you gotta understand first what you're doing. Totally agree. On your case, you're in a different stage for sure. On the experience you have, and also understanding the system integration of different functions in order
Yep.
to create.
Exactly. It's that system integration, because now, if I'm actually going to take Civilization 100 seriously, that is not what I'm doing right now. Like yesterday, as of yesterday, I was not doing that yesterday. I was getting myself too deep into the trenches to actually have the perspective for systems integration, and that's where I need to emerge to right now. So
Uh,
so
About that topic, system integration, today I saw the RTK video you did with the
yeah.
Spark founder,
Yep.
and he basically that's his biggest approach, system integration. He
Yep.
doesn't make many open source components, and I really like that style since he's not really spending much time into developing. He's
Mm-hmm.
more into basically building the solutions. Just as a note, how could we do the same with the projects we have, the
Yeah.
freeze
So
specifically?
so like Nathan Seidel from SparkFun, he is a he decides what to productize, strategy for it. So basically, rollout and systems integration work. So for me, what is that? And for you, for me, it's okay. How are we rolling out the program now? Introducing other education opportunities. There's a core education program. There's house building. What exactly is the sequence, and how do we go about it? You're doing that for you. You're saying, okay, I'm going to do freeze dried fruit powders. So your uh, product strategy, product architect, and then you go about doing it. Uh, and how do we do more of that? Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how else we can do that. You're doing it, so I don't see any gap there in terms of your role. You do. You, what are your thoughts?
I would like to understand how much is that most impact on economic price of open sourcing than just buying conventional components off the shelf and build something. That's what the thinking of everything it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
on the economic part.
Yeah, so we evaluate it. We're in the process of evaluating, going through that process right now. So that's actually what we're doing. Uh, Having said that, okay, freeze-dried fruit powders is the first thing we're developing, and we went through the 2028 plan. Like, what are we going to do? What's the sequencing? What's right now, and what's next year, and so forth. But yeah, we can get right back into it. So yesterday, yeah, let's dive right back in. Yeah. Okay. So yesterday was cool. Did you see me smiling or laughing?
Smiling, yes. I never heard any laugh.
And that was, do you know why?
Not really.
Well, because oh, I like it. I like what you said. You basically dropped it on this guy. Hey, by the way, we're actually being system transformers here, civilization grade work. We're going to open source this. And you kind of hit him by surprise with that. He was pleasantly surprised. I don't think anyone is opposed to that. But I loved it that you just laid it out. We're not just doing this, we're actually transforming an industry. And I think he was starting to catch that. So he's in for a good some good work. I mean, there's a real chance there. We're setting ourselves up for transforming that industry with open source, I think. So let's see what we can do. And now that's all talk, but now let's actually get to what we need to do to get there. So where we're at right now, so what do we want to discuss on the productization of the freeze drying and all that? So where we're at.
Correct. So you saw yesterday the type of machinery that the current industry has, the different functions it needs to do. Now the question is where to start.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm.
market, the one part I would say it's all, not 100%, but let's assume that there is a market for freeze drying.
Yeah.
Now, where do we go after this? Do we go off the shelf? Do we try to open source a component? What would be your first step?
Oh
It's a
well,
question.
I think we answered it already. We're gonna first prove it. Prove. Okay. Let's. And as we go forward, once again, the discipline, the fifth. Oh yeah. So let me just bust out one more thing. The fifth discipline, the book by Peter Senge. Have you heard about that?
No.
Okay. So
Fifth,
the fifth discipline is actually systems integration, and he says that for any organization to become a learning organization, it must do systems integration, and it goes about other aspects of it. But what we're doing here now, we're adding. So of course, always okay. Let's go next. What's next? Oh, the sixth discipline. What is that? It's called open collaboration, and that takes a learning organization from the organization scale to civilization scale. So we are moving beyond proprietary organizational boundaries, and we're saying with open collaboration now we do civilization grade engineering. So the fifth discipline does not get you to civilization grade engineering. The sixth discipline does, and that's what we're doing here. I just thought that's useful to note that. But with the sixth discipline, let's act on it. So let's go right to which is open collaboration. So that starts with the discipline of documentation. So let's pull up the development template and go ahead for enterprise.
the work doc, you meant?
Yeah. So let me freeze dry. I think it's called open source freeze drying page. Is it? Let me just look at my log here. Oh,
It, yes, it's freeze dry.
freeze dryer, right?
Yes, I'm gonna share it.
Okay. Um, so this gets into what are the steps for enterprise development. We've got product, but then, um, yeah, I'm on the page on the wiki, right? So you're on the wiki, or you're not even on the wiki. You went.
No,
Sorry, I'm catching up to what link you sent me. Okay, you sent me to the docs. I'm actually going to take you up a level to the development template for enterprise. Let's actually discuss that just a little bit. So
what what's the website you're in on the wiki?
it's called open source freeze dryer, and there's an enterprise template. And I actually updated the enterprise template. So go to here. I actually added a couple of lines to it because you got to start with value proposition and all that. So take a look at that. Yep, open source freeze dryer. Scroll down to enterprise. I just want to note this.
I'm there. Okay.
Oh, okay. And in fact, I'm gonna just edit it right now because there's an update that this hasn't reflected because I just changed it today. So in fact, I'm gonna share my screen. You've seen me do this trick here, so let me share my screen. But basically, there's this enterprise template. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so enterprise here, I edited that. Okay, so it's this whole thing rolled out, but it's actually this old template with row 1 being the product architecture. But I actually added one thing, which is, let's get very clear about the enterprise value proposition, because that's not going to be necessarily the same as the product value proposition. The enterprise might have some other things like, hey, we're transforming civilization. So we got to write that down and be clear about the goals as we get a team on board to take this big, hairy, audacious goal on. So I'm going to go subst. So this is how you embed templates. So you go subst, colon, and then the template is called enterprise. So anyway, if I save that, that's a mistake there. But see, enterprise, I'm starting that right there, enterprise. So it's nothing there because I erased everything. But I'm gonna pipe in open source freeze dryer. Freeze dryer, freezer dryer. And it's the curly brackets. Freeze dryer. So this is what it's going to give you. It rolls out the whole thing. So now you see under enterprise, you've got this whole thing. And I want to do, I'm just being in this. We've got now 28 steps. And that's after we do the development side, which is design, technical design, bill of materials, build, life cycle design, etc. Now we get into enterprise where we talk about, okay, what is the value proposition of the enterprise itself? Product architecture. Well, we talked about that, but I'll stop sharing my. But basically, document, like we have that work doc, which is, I think that work doc is probably under products. No, it's not under product strategy. Do you have it under product architecture? No. I'm going to put your, so as a little exercise, if we've got this actual document that you did send me, okay, so what is the main point of this doc? You're starting where, so if we take this document and we want to put it somewhere in the development template, for here, where is this? Are we doing like
The unique value proposition would be on enterprise number 3.
oh wait, oh oh man, you mean right here, value proposition. Okay, so so this, I actually got to edit that probably. It's more like the requirements of what we're trying to do. But yeah, value proposition, let's go there and let's put it in there. Okay, and we can So I'm just saying, when we document stuff, let's be very, this template allows us to be very granular about where we put things. And it starts with like agreeing that, well, these things are important, like benchmarking. We were benchmarking, for example, yesterday in our meeting against, okay, what are the industry standards there? There's the unique value proposition that we just did, product strategy, cost structure. I mean, we did a lot of stuff on cost structure already. We discovered that energy is the biggest thing. So after that, we come up with a business plan, and then open source franchise, as in like this is franchise. I like to use the term universal basic productive resources enterprise kind of. You kind of get the drift. But then you got to discuss, okay, what's your production, what's your actual operations manual for the enterprise, data collection, training, facility, supply chain, actual production process, quality control, compliance, like legal and stuff, and then marketing, and then sales and support and improvement. So we're not there yet because we're developing product and production. So let's go into some of these and discuss where we're at. So I'm going to stop sharing. So we already said what we do know is that we were going along the line of, let's do a quick 1 kilogram sampler device, or we say, let's just buy it off the shelf and start producing. Now the machine costs that were kind of high, we said like 30,000. So for that reason, like for a small machine, that wouldn't do anywhere near what you need. So the decision now is, okay, are we gonna expect that we're gonna open source the machine and therefore do the simplest prototype of a device that could do 1 kilogram? I mean, that's an effort already. You gotta, that's a design of the world's first open source freeze drying machine. It's not too difficult, but, and in fact, I estimated, I sent you the thing. I'm estimating about around $4,000 for the cost. That's with help of GPT, just talking about basic compressor and dryer prices and stuff. So you can definitely afford 4,000. And is that worth it, as opposed to get a commercial machine for like 30,000 or something like that, or maybe 5,000? Oh, well, if it was 5,000, then maybe you just get a commercial off the shelf one. But we have to discuss that. What is product strategy? What is it? Are you after getting to your big volumes ASAP, where we know the machines are going to be millions, or are we going to start the proper way is to open source it, so you're changing the industry, right? Because say you do succeed at it, on one side you can say, okay, well, I'm going to get this production machine. You can say, I'm going to get the production machine. The payback time is going to be reasonable. If we have near free energy, this works, and we're going to go with that. Now, last time we kind of said it, that payback time was like not bad, right? Is that what we decided? I forget. We were discussing that even if you buy an off-the-shelf machine, we can still do decent return on investment. So we've got that documented, right?
As long as we use the energy strategy. That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were assuming, so that's is that in this doc or is that in the other doc?
Which information?
So the Farming Earth freeze-dried energy efficiency document? No, we were in a different document, right?
In that blueberry. Let me paste one.
So since we're starting to get lost, I would like to put that. You got to do some calculations in an enterprise, and that's really, I would say that's cost structure or production, or even under. Where's the calculations under the design? I mean, calculations are more like technical calculations, but economic calculations would fit more in the enterprise side. So I think we got to go to line item number 6 under enterprise, which is called the cost structure. we're trying to get down to understanding cost. Yeah, so maybe like documented in the cost structure, because we got to find out, get clear about, is it worth it? I think the next question is it worth it? Do we just get the machine and prove the energy aspect? Is that where we're going to go? So let's.
As
Mhm.
as the economics you were mentioning, the lowest cost machinery for doing 1 kilogram, it costs around 5,000 USD. And the cost that you were mentioning to build one truly open source
Mhm.
is 1,000 USD. So
Mhm.
from a cost perspective, open source wins. Now, making this a reality, me not knowing how to do it, it's a factor, not a big one. If I have you as a mentor and you show me how, do you believe we can do it that way? The open source part? If yes, then let's do open source.
Okay. Where was the? Okay, so I see on page one. Um, where's the our $5,000 machine? Where is that?
It's not on the document.
It's not.
No, it's the one we saw on the call yesterday, one of the brands.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's Harvest. I forget the name.
Okay. So maybe let's, since this document is getting a little heavy here, I would say we're at page, we've got like 85 pages in it right now. We started with blueberries and stuff, but we definitely got into the freeze drying. So maybe let's make a copy of that, and I'm going to cut that out of that document and put it into a separate freeze drying document. Is that okay?
Yes, that's what I meant. I made the farmer freeze dry to focus purely on freeze drying, but we'll have to take the other slides that are related to the freeze dry project and put it into this or start a new one.
Okay, so let's do a separate doc, and in it, this is like basically our getting clear on the cost structure. And let's, because it's like it would take us a bunch of time to edit, let's create a new one
Okay.
under. So let me do that. I'm gonna just cut it out right now. So I'm gonna say freeze drying cost structure, um, cost analysis. I mean, we're at the cost analysis. Um, so I'm making a copy, and from the first doc, the original one, I'm going to cut out all the pages that were on freeze drying. So I'm just going to start burning since I already copied it. And of course, we have restore if we ever mess up, as we talked about the other time. We talked about zero marginal cost economic development method. That's actually what we're going to do is we're going to come back to this later, and we're going to start formalizing that, because that's going to be a generalized development method. So, but we'll leave it in a Blueberry doc since it's still there. Okay, so it's only like, okay, so this one I'm gonna take out. Cool. Got the critical path in that doc. Integrated pots. Okay, so everything before that is more about other topics. I'm going to leave that, get out of that document, the Blueberry doc, and I'm going into the freeze-dry cost analysis, and I'm pasting that into, so I did it under line 6. If you click on now line 6, the cost structure doc, so that's the new doc. Line
Did you
item 6 for enterprise.
did you paste it here on the
Yeah.
meet so I can be looking at it?
Okay, so it's that one, but you have to, if I asked you, Eduardo, tell me how do I find it on the wiki, what would you say?
This. This link, you mean?
Yeah,
The document?
because we gotta get. So once we scale development to a lot of people, we all have to have the same language of organization, and that is, we know what we're working on. What's the name of the project we're working on? It's called Open Source Freeze Dryer. So just go to that page, and in there you have the development templates. So that's where you can click on item 6 under Enterprise.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so there, let's see. I'm going to open up that doc because the default for Google Docs is restricted. So I always go, anyone with a link. At this point they can edit. We don't have any reservations on that. So in case other people like David join us, he can edit without us having to fumble through permissions. All right. Let's start a new slide and let's start talking seriously about. So you're saying let's just get the 5K machine and test production, test energy aspects. That's your.
No, I meant the other way. So the 5K, it's the off the shelf, and to that building our own through open source components, it's 4K.
Yeah.
So based on cost, open source win.
Yeah.
But if we're really concerned about building without experience, which is me, I don't have any experience doing freeze dryers. That's a concern I want to put up in front and analyze what makes more sense, since the big innovation is not just building the machinery, but it's more the energy aspect. How would you choose into these two alternatives?
Yeah, I mean, let's dive into it a little bit. So decision. We have to analyze it a little bit and say, okay, what are we gonna do? What makes sense, and that's determined by all our goals, etc. So decision. Well, first of all, we have to start with what's our goal. Is our goal, well, what are our goals? And multiple. So goals, one is prove the energy aspect, right? Now, I mean, the question is how quick do you want to prove that? If you're going to build it, it's going to take you a bunch of time. It's not going to be tomorrow or next week. It's going to be longer. It's going to be on the order of weeks. Multiple weeks. Do you have multiple weeks versus you go off, we search for one off the shelf and it can be delivered probably relatively quickly on an order of a week. Maybe let's say for the commercial machine right now, it's days to weeks versus development, weeks to months. Weeks, I would, depending on how much energy you put into it, it's weeks. But then again, on the build your own route, I haven't built one. I don't know how long it's going to take exactly, but it will be weeks. If there are some tricks that we are running into, or part sourcing issues or whatever, there could be significant delays. We do not have control over that schedule because we haven't done it, and we can quickly find out what exactly that schedule is, and maybe that's the route to do. We can now determine, okay, based on the knowledge we have here, I think we could put a critical path that says 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever we got. But right now we cannot say. We can't say within a factor of 2. We can probably say within a factor of probably like 4. It could be 1 month. It could be 4 months. It could be absolute quickest could be like couple of weeks if we get, like design it tomorrow with chat, source parts tomorrow, and we're just moving and we're just doing it, and then parts come, we do some welding, we've got testability, on a super simple thing that won't be production grade. It's just a thing to measure energy with. So you're talking about $1,000 of savings right now in order to do it. But I think the bigger project is at hand. The question is, are you considering that? Yes, with a very small machine, I can actually milk that for my return on investment, and then as the time rolls, we're developing the open source machines. That probably makes the most sense. Uh, it depends on your timing requirements. So if you tell me what kind of time thresholds you have, time requirements, then we can make a decision.
I don't have a specific time range, but what I'm sure is that the best decision, at least for me, is to get that off-the-shelf machinery and focus 100% on what really makes the difference, which is the energy aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about 5,000 USD for a machinery, but it has to be smaller machineries available, maybe not from professional suppliers, but an adaptation that I can get. We adapt the panels, the system, and we validate there. And if we need later a bigger machinery, that's going to be another topic after we do the energy validation.
So we did the energy validation, and at that point, I think we have two choices. We can take the intermediate step, which is go to the next bigger machine, pending, say, a sale contract that fits that. And then what if we actually made enough revenue in time X to go to the next step? So we kind of go with a bootstrapping approach. Or we can say we're just going to milk the small system and then get very serious about developing the open one, because we know for the long term we're going to need the open one to scale this because of significant machine costs. Or maybe we
Makes
find out, hey, if we after the smallest experiment, we might find out, hey, wait a second, I think it's actually even better to for now to go with the commercial machines, because we get so much advantage from the economics of the energy that it actually makes a lot of sense.
agree. Yes, so let me find an itinerary that's smallest as possible, that has all the capacities to make a professional grade freeze dryer, even if it's for 1 kilogram. I'll put the technical details on the work document, and we can innovate from there, or most of it, integrate the PV panel strategy you have developed.
Okay, now that's the best route. So I mean, right now, number one question is, okay, source a machine, and it could be from China, right?
Yes, or US or Mexico, I don't care, as long as it's not very expensive and makes the work.
Yeah, and it would be interesting, like, yeah, just compare. So get a few options and say, okay, what are the advantages, disadvantages of each? For China, it's definitely more about due diligence because the reputability and all that, um, things like that. Do we want to leave it at that for today, or and then just get busy on sourcing that machine, and then we're going to start integrating the system? So
Yes, I
next
think
meeting we'll just, or maybe even as soon as you've got the machine, let's set up a call. So why don't you do this? Get the get a or even email me and all your research, and we'll make a decision. Okay, let's go with this, and then we can meet regarding, okay, now we know what machine we need, now let's talk about how we power it.
let's do that.
Let's do that.
We can have the call for sure next Thursday, but I will have information earlier and open to an earlier call.
Okay, let's do that. If you have it earlier, let's meet earlier than Thursday. That'll be great.
Okay,
Okay.
let's
Okay, sounds good. So we'll call it a day here, and yeah, let's look at the machine. So I think the strategy. I think at this point we know so little about the topic that the best idea is to, if your goal is energy study, if we get a very firm answer on that and you and I are convinced, we can project from there and make the best decisions. Because right now, yes, we think we're going to get 1 cent per kilowatt hour, and that's going to be amazing. And I think that's going to be it. So I think right now we're just saying we're proving that. I'm going to prove that to ourselves and to the world, and then we roll from there.
and that's something we can do in weeks, correct? After having the machinery.
Oh yeah, like if you got the machines, you can do the system integration for power in a week. I mean, it's about, I can lay out all the parts that you need. We buy that, and as soon as it arrives, you put it together in a few hours. So
Okay.
rapid
Well,
iteration here. Yeah. Hmm.
one question, and that's it, about sourcing the components, especially for PV panels. Do you
Yeah.
have certain websites that you can recommend?
Yeah. I there's two pages on the wiki that this is already all laid out. get the equivalent of the lowest cost machines there, and it's called PV sourcing and inverter sourcing. Let's make sure those pages exist. Let's say PV sourcing. Okay, that page exists, and there I have recorded all the. Go to. Put the link in there. So here, what you have is what we have sourced already, and exactly what we did here. So we did the Sunelec, which, okay, so that page can't be found. Let's see. Oh, it can't be found. The 2017 was the. Okay, I'm gonna put another link to there. So that would be CDECO Home 1. That the PV system for CDECO Home 1. That was where we put that. I'm gonna go number redirect to CDECO Home 1. CDECO Home. Okay, so there we have, let's see, in a bill of materials, do we have actual purchases? Menards. Panel siding prototyping. No, it's not. I'm gonna get the link of the so you can actually see the kind of panels we use there. But the whole point is look at what we've done before and get panels that are similar to the 3 different types we already used, because those, I mean, you're just trying to get the highest wattage at the lowest cost. That's all it is. So CDECO Home PV system. Put that link in there. Okay, so yeah, you've seen that page. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in there on the PV sourcing page. You've seen that page already, but review that, and there's information on the actual panels we used. So if you refresh the PV panel sourcing page, you can look at 2017. Now that's a good link.
Sunelec.
Yeah. But the one below that, because that link was broken and they took that down or whatever. So, oh yeah, the specs. Well, see the spec. No, that's still, all of those links are broken now. So go to the wiki, the other wiki page there. Now for 2022 on PV panel sourcing, okay, that page works. Company, nope, that link is broken, but let's see, do the specs work? Panel specs. Yeah. So there's there you can see the specs for the exact panel that we got for 2022 under
Yes.
Wanshang or whatever, and then let's see which link on the 2025. Yeah, the 2025 links work. That's what we got 100 kilowatts of. So, but basically that's all. Look at panel sourcing comparable to those, and then let's go to inverter sourcing, because your main components are here's the panels, and here's the inverter. So inverter sourcing, yeah, there's a lot of different links. So basically, see the kind of stuff we're looking at, and get yourself something. I mean, 6 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt. I mean, I see one 10 kilowatt at the very top. I mean, the first one is $300. I mean, let's see, is that for real? That's AliExpress. No, that one is $427. So around $500, you're gonna get yourself something like a 5 to 10 kilowatt PV system. uh, inverter. So just take a look at those options. What you're looking for is if we've got 6 kilowatts, then we got plenty for a 1 kilowatt. How many kilowatts is that freeze dryer going to take? You look at those specs, then you have to make sure you got enough power. But 6 kilowatts going to, I think, probably going to be plenty. Probably 3 kilowatts would even be enough. But I would say just build yourself a little bit of extra capacity so that, and at a price that's not much more because the panels are dirt cheap. They're 20 cents. So for 6 kilowatts, you're talking 1,200. For 3 kilowatts, you're talking 600. You know, so do what you need. 300 is going to be like 5 cells, five panels or so. Yeah, so a system of 5 panels. I mean, that's plenty, probably plenty. So make sure that your 3 kilowatts there are going to be enough to power whatever freeze dryer you're looking at.
Okay, I have more idea where to source and get more information. I
Mm-hmm.
will put the technical information on the document when I have it on the freeze dryer, and we'll take it from there. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Yep. So you saw the. Let me just type in the link there in case you missed that one. But yeah, inverter sourcing page. So if you see that.
Yes, I got the PV panel and inverter that you
Yep.
just pasted. I
Okay.
have both.
So as soon as you got it, let's talk again.
Will do.
See you soon.
See you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.